This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners, meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
I am so excited for this spa day. Candles lit, music on, hot tub warm and ready. And then my chronic hives come back. Again, in the middle of my spa day. What a wet blanket. Looks like another spell of itchy red skin. If you have chronic spontaneous urticaria or CSU, there is a different treatment option. Hives during my next spa day? Not if I can help it. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now your host, Ace.
Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. We got Ace and Malik in the house tonight.
What's going on, man? Ant ditched us, man. Ant ditched us. He's watching his Jets. So, no LeVon tonight, man.
Yeah.
But I got his pick, so we're good to go.
Okay, good. We will probably hear more from LeVon later on, maybe on the recap shows if he can make it to those. But today we are going to be getting right into our... Well, actually, we're not going to get right into the picks. Did you hear... I know you're a baseball fan, so you definitely read about this. Emmanuel Clase.
Yes.
Okay. How good of a baseball player is he compared to, let's say, Terry Rozier as an NBA player? Is he more important to a team than Terry Rozier would be?
Well, he's a pitcher, so yeah, I would say he is more important to his team. He's a starter. He's a rotate. Is he a starter still? He used to be a starter.
Is he a starter or a closer?
He was in Cleveland I think he was in Cleveland. I remember when he was in Cleveland. I can't remember who he's playing for now. When this thing came up, but I would say he's more important because maybe not as a talent, but I just think with the position that you play when you're a pitcher, the scandal that we're talking about, you can legitimately tell when you can really, really affect the outcome of a game if you're intentionally throwing balls and strikes, right? So,
correct.
That's the thing where I think it's more impactful. Maybe not because of the talent or the skill of the player, but just because of the way that player, because of the position they play, can impact the game. Terry Rozier could not score 10 points, whatever he's averaging, 12, 15 points, whatever he was averaging at the time. He could not score those. And
with Charlotte, he was averaging 18 points a game, actually. He was one of their better scorers at the time.
Well, I thought that was in Miami. I thought it happened while he was in Miami. Oh, it was in Charlotte. Okay.
Yeah, they started investing him in Charlotte, and then Miami took him, and then he just started playing like trash. So the Miami fans didn't like him before that, but once they found out, they were like, good, maybe we can get him off the books. But no, now they're stuck with him. So,
in theory, he could not make his number, and he would hit on a prop bet, but you might still win. Class A walks the wrong guy, and he can start a groundswell of,
game's over. Yeah.
Shit goes left completely for the team, and they could lose a game. So, yeah, that's kind of where I lean with those two.
And he throws in the high 90s, right? So he's not some regular bum. He's a quality closer.
Yeah, he's a quality. I was saying when he was in Cleveland, I remember him on Cleveland, and I remember playing against the Yankees, and I remember conversations about him being one of the better closers in baseball at the time. So he definitely is on that level, at his best. So him, legitimately throwing balls or strike, whatever it is, throwing balls in order to hit props it's also something that you can actually naturally control. It's very easy to throw a ball. They know how to throw. They know how to not throw strikes just as much as they know how to throw strikes. So
baseball was so on it, and the sports books were so on it. They were like, why is somebody making such a huge bet on individual pitches? Which also, that's insane that you can bet on each individual pitch that the dude throws.
I didn't know that was a thing until I read it. Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. That That is next level degenerate gambler shit right there, man.
That's some
If
Phil
you're
Mixon.
on your phone, because that seems like something that could not have been possible before phones and apps.
No,
Like,
you can't. It's not quick enough to do that.
yeah, like you couldn't get that bet into your bookie, between pitches. It's just, and especially now with the pitch clock and everything like that, it's 20 seconds between pitches. So it's not even like,
Yeah.
you might have that pitcher who's like messes around on the mound or whatever, where you could try to, like, there's a good 30 seconds to a minute in between. Like, no, this is like legitimately get on your app. The pitchers are throwing, get on the app, boom, next one's a ball, that type of shit. So,
You can bet
and
on
make you
each.
bet.
You can in the NBA and basketball games. I don't know if DraftKings doesn't do this in college, but you can bet on the next point, whether it's a free throw, 2 points, or 3 points. You used to be able to bet on refs' calls too. That's why I dropped that into the chat today, because I wanted y'all to see, like, they're getting rid of that. You
Yeah.
can't bet on officiating calls anymore in the NFL. You used to be able to do that last week. So meaning you could say, oh, the result of the play is going to be a holding penalty.
At the end of a play, you could bet.
You could do that before the next
when the
play.
flag.
Before the flag.
So when the flag goes down, you could bet on what that call is.
No. Pre-snap. Like, you could bet on each individual play, like you could bet on each individual pitch.
Got it.
You could say on the ninth play.
So if no call gets made, you lose.
Right.
Got it.
And they weren't limiting that. Meaning, if you had $10,000 in there, you could put $10,000 down. And I'm like, so wait a second. You could manipulate individual parts of the game very easily. And Clase did this for $400,000. Meanwhile, he stood to make another, $30 to $40 million in his career as a Major League Baseball pitcher?
Yeah.
Which is insane.
But he had to work for that. So,
But he wasn't doing that. Yeah, but you see, what I think is this. He's from Dominican Republic. So he may not have been doing this for him. He may have been doing this for other people back home who were like, yo, get this bet in. You can get this money, and then I don't have to give it to you. That's what I'm
very
thinking.
true.
But think about that. You could bet on, hey, the Jets are going to throw an interception on this next play. And all you need is a back quarterback, or just, you need to know, well, Nathan Peterman's in. So he's going to throw, he's good for 6. So I just got to figure out which one of these is going to be it. But it's a little bit different than knowing the quarterback's trash as opposed to he's throwing the game. It's kind of nuts. He's going to throw a ball. It's like, oh no, this pass is going to be incomplete for sure. He told us.
That is insane. Like, that is honestly crazy that you can say, like, I'm going to make the 5th pitch is going to be a ball.
Yeah.
And then you can bet a whole bunch of money on that one pitch.
And that's what they were doing. They're like, this is very irregular. And it's like, that's the easiest way to get caught. What's harder is manipulating the totals or the point spread. So, like, I'm going to get up more shots to make sure that we hit the over. Or I'm going to take less shots. I'm going to slow the game down to make sure that we hit the under.
Yeah. That's true. But but the thing about it is interesting is, if you've watched enough baseball, and I watch a ton of baseball, so there are trends in baseball that are pretty consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I know, did they remove the ability to bet on pitches?
No, they limited it to $200 per bet. So let's say you notice the trend with one pitcher, right? The most you could do is $200 at a time.
Right.
If you were betting more than that, you had to know what was coming. Right. Unless you just have a problem.
So, and this might be betting advice for any of you guys that are listening to this, but like, if you watch baseball like I do, when a pitcher goes up 0-2, right? Just saying, 3 strikes, they're out, right? But when a pitcher goes up 0-2, more than 70% of the time, the next pitch is going to be out of the zone. Now, that's not to say that the batter won't swing at it, but the next pitch, there's no incentive for the pitcher to throw you a strike at that point. Because if you throw a ball out of the zone, the batter's going to be the batter's got 2 strikes, so they're more susceptible to chasing pitches outside of the zone. And as a pitcher, if you've got the guy 0-2, you can waste a pitch, which is basically what they call it, right? They'll call it wasting a pitch. You throw something out of the zone, see if you get them to chase, right? And if you do, great. you strike him out. And if you don't, whatever, but you don't have to be around the plate. So if you're betting and, if you can bet every pitch, I would say 70% of the time, if you get an 0-2 count and you bet that next pitch as a ball, 70% of the time you're going to hit. I would be surprised if that's not. There's trends in pitching that if you watch baseball, you can pretty much pick up what the next pitch might be. You can pick up what the next pitch might be if you know that the pitch, like if you really do your research and like what a pitcher throws, the percentage of fastballs they throw, the percentage of curveballs they throw, what they throw during these specific counts, because they have a routine, right, that they follow. The odds are really, really good. I might start betting this just to see where I can, what I can learn from that, because I didn't know it was a thing, but that's definitely something that's interesting to be interested in doing, because
the smallest bet you can make is 10 cents. The largest now you can do is 200, but they limited it to de-incentivize manipulation by any player or any outside influence, because the fact that he was willing to do this for $400,000 lets us know, like, there's a lot more pressure on these guys than we thought. He brought in somebody else to also get involved in this, which kind of let me know, like, oh, this is kind of out of pocket. And that guy was also a Major League Baseball pitcher, but he was more of a fringe player. But still, like, it lets them know that everybody knows that they're tracking this. But that is kind of wild. You can bet on the result of a drive in the NFL. You can do all of that. But you can't make bets on ref calls or anything like that anymore. And I'm like, you never should have been able to. Because you just need one Donaghy guy, and now it's it.
Yeah. I think that's insane to be able to bet on the call.
NFL prohibits prop bets on injuries, officiating, and single plays to protect game integrity. So you can no longer do that in the NFL. In Major League Baseball, single plays. So you can't bet what the result of the next play is going to be. You can bet on what the drive is going to end in. Will the drive end in a touchdown, turnover and downs, turnover or touchdown or field goal? But that's for the people who need action constantly.
Yeah.
Like you're betting on a dice
really, really crazy bettors there. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I don't know if
you ever bet on those things is crazy. Just the fact that people do it is.
Well, there's that story about Phil Mickelson, he bet, I believe he got into debt somewhere in the range of $30 to $60 million with bookmakers. Yeah. While on the PGA Tour. Yeah. There's a story where he basically won $400,000 in bets while playing against Tiger Woods. Then one weekend on a big, in March, first weekend in March, he's playing in a tournament against Tiger. He loses the third round. He comes back, wins the AT&T Pro-Am, hits a 64 while being down $4 million to the bookies. So he was able to compartmentalize his betting outside of him playing golf, which is all mental and pressure and maybe a little bit physical. I'm definitely physical, but like the fact that he could do that is just kind of insane to me. It just lets me know, like, oh, there are people out here really, really about this life.
Oh no, yeah. For real.
The game within the game.
Well, I figure he probably can compartmentalize because he realizes if he doesn't win the golf tournament, he's probably going to lose those hands. So it's kind of like, I'm incentivized to, beat the shit out of Tiger over here because I kind of need to pay back my bookie.
Otherwise, Phil might end up falling down a flight of stairs. Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Well, allegedly. Let's just say the guy who's accusing him of this has also served federal prison time, but he would know. Let's just say he would know. That's why he took the live golf money, because he needed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right. We're going to get into the picks this week and big games of the week. Dolphins, Commanders, two teams that do not look like they're going to the playoffs. Definitely not a big game, I would say. Who do you got, Malik? Oh, the spread on this one is -2.5 for the Dolphins. They're playing in Madrid. I believe this is the last game played over in Europe.
Yep. So and the first game ever played in Spain.
It's a shame they got two trash teams, but the weather is still warm, so that'll be nice for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. So for me, the look ahead prior to this game, I'm going with the Dolphins, and the under with this one. The look ahead prior to the Commanders versus Lions,
Hmm.
I had Washington favored by 2. So the flip, there's like a 4.5 to 5 point swing here. Feels like Vegas is kind of overreacting to the Dolphins beating the Bills, which I was less surprised about given like the line that was, because I picked the Dolphins last week to win that game. Well, to cover. I don't know about win,
Same.
but to cover because of the 12.5 points that they were getting. But because the Dolphins had played the Bills well in previously, right? So it
Hmm.
wasn't like the Dolphins weren't showing up against the Bills. They had shown up against the Bills. So I wasn't really surprised about that. Um, in reference to this game, I think Miami has more than enough firepower to like score on a slower, older Commanders defense that we saw have almost nothing for the speed of the Lions last week. At home. So uh, Jaden Daniels not being there and being them being led by Mariota. I like Mariota as a quarterback, but I think he makes the offense efficient but not explosive. I think he lacks the explosivity that Jaden Daniels can bring to the game. So because of that, I think the number here is low enough that I can see the Dolphins just pulling out and securing like their second consecutive win. But I think this gets a bit ugly, so I'm going to take the Dolphins and the under, no lock.
I'm taking the Dolphins and the under as well. Actually, I'm going to take over under is 48 and a half, 47 and a half.
Yeah.
NFL Network 9:30 on Sunday. I'm taking the Dolphins and the under as well. I can't imagine this gets to a high scoring game, but I believe Washington is going to have all their other skill position players. Terry McLaurin is looking on track to play. I believe he's practiced, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is practicing. Yep.
So Mariota is at least going to have all the people available to him to be able to win this game. But whoever wins this game, I guess, decreases their chances of getting a higher draft pick. But I don't know what Miami's playing for, but they can still go 10-7. So,
I think
yeah.
Washington's not playing for anything. Washington's playing for more. They want more opportunities to just build their roster around Jaden.
Yeah, I mean, they tried that this year, but the team just a little bit too old.
At
Just
least
a
on
little bit too
defense, yeah.
old. Yeah. Next up, we got the Falcons and the Panthers. This game is actually surprisingly between two teams with winning records this season. Or the Atlanta
The
Falcons
Falcons
are
are
3
3
and
and
6.
6.
I take that back. The Falcons are 3 games under 500. The Carolina Panthers are 500 after blowing a game last week to a team everybody thought they were going to beat in the Saints. Another division game on the road. I'm still kind of shocked that Atlanta is favored here, but they are at home and the Panthers are the Panthers. So I am going to I'm leaning towards the Panthers here. It's not a lock for me, but I'm leaning toward the Panthers and the over. I don't have faith in either of these teams' defenses, and there's really no reason why anybody should. They give up a bunch of points. They aren't really that effective, honestly. But for whatever reason, they've been able to stop Bijan. And that's genuinely what's kind of surprised me the most this entire season, that they've been able to shut him down the past couple of weeks after he got going a little bit. So I'm just trying to figure this one out. And I don't get how they've just been able to just limit him. And also along with the Drake London. He's been getting pretty good stats consistently, but otherwise their defense has just been kind of lacking. The offensive, I don't know. But Atlanta's middle of the road. Carolina is also a middle of the road defense. Oh, I take that back. Carolina defensively by yards. I think they're statistically they're a little bit better in terms of giving up yards for the whole season, but I just don't have much faith in them after they lost to Tyler Shock. So I don't know. Go ahead, Malik. What's your pick?
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta here as well. I think the primary thing, the only thing that you didn't mention that I wanted to touch on is the fact that the last time these two teams played when this game was in Carolina, the Panthers beat them 30-0. And I think Atlanta was coming off of a big win the week before. I can't remember who they had played, but they were definitely coming off of victory, flying high, feeling pretty good about themselves. And Carolina was at the at that time, Carolina was considered to be just one of the worst teams in the league. And then then they beat the brakes off of the Falcons, and the rest is history. So now both of these teams have trended just in completely opposite directions. The Panthers actually started to win somewhat, and started to find an identity with their team, with the running game, between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, and Bryce Young stopped making mistakes. And that was pretty much the recipe there. And they played some solid defense for them to get some victories. They had won 3 straight. Then they lost in Buffalo. Then they won that game in Green Bay, and you feel really good about that when they were 12.5-point dogs there. And then they lose to New Orleans. So I don't see a reason why they can't win this game. I think just kind of thinking about it from the perspective of the Atlanta Falcons, just kind of wanting some revenge and just wanting to hold down the home field. You got to believe that they have a little bit in the tank to get things done, but they have lost 4 straight. So we'll see. We'll see what they're able to accomplish here, because they haven't won anything since that Buffalo game on Monday Night Football, which was the high mark of their season. They've lost 4 straight since then. So yeah. I'm gonna go with the Falcons here, just as a last ditch effort for them to kind of try to salvage whatever they can out of this season, and maybe potentially put themselves back in a wild card spot. As crazy as that might sound, but yeah, I'll roll with them here at home. I'll give the 3.5. No lock though.
Yeah, I'm going with Carolina, if that wasn't clear before, because they're getting 3.5 points.
Yep.
I can see them keeping it close. Because Tampa, the first game of the season, Tampa beat Atlanta. Then Atlanta beat Minnesota in Minnesota. And I think people were high on Minnesota after week 1. And then they lost 30-zip, that was probably one of the most shocking games of the season. Yeah. And that kind of set the tone of what was going to happen for the rest of for Atlanta's season. And it looks like Raheem Morris might be out of a job if it keeps trending this way. If he can't right the ship and get something going in November, it's going to be a very long year for them. Very long.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough. It's just tough regardless.
But
it's a tough team to watch. They got all that talent. I don't know what the hell.
They got 3 easy games in a row. They got Carolina. They go to the Saints, which is a rivalry game. And then they have the Jets Thanksgiving weekend. Or the weekend after Thanksgiving, I should say. That's Sunday.
Yeah.
And they finish with a pretty tough schedule in December. Seattle, Tampa, Arizona, the Rams, and then New Orleans they finish with. So I see 4 more wins on this season for them. But let's not beat a dead horse. Nobody came here to hear about Atlanta Falcons talk.
Despite the fact that I live in Georgia. Go ahead.
Bills, Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 5.5-point underdogs. I believe this game is in Buffalo.
That it is.
If I'm not mistaken. You can go first on this one. I wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so the spread here is
48.
Yeah, the spread here is 5.5. Over under is 48. The Bucks are coming off of a loss. They lost last week at home against the Patriots, who were playing tonight, and the Bills probably had the most shocking result of Week 10, if I'm not mistaken. That blowout loss to the Miami Dolphins. It completely eroded all good feelings from the Kansas City victory that they had, 2 weeks prior, because they went on their bye. They didn't have their bye. They won against Kansas City, then they went to Miami and completely destroyed all any good faith there. The Buffalo Bills they're an interesting team because I think we said this before. Josh Allen is great. The rest of the team is just okay.
Dudes. Yeah.
It's just a bunch of guys. And if Josh doesn't have a great game, they can lose to just about anybody. But if he has a good game, they can beat anybody because he definitely elevates that team's potential. I think this is a mediocre Josh Allen game. That said, I don't think that they lose. I think that they can win. But because I don't think this is the best Josh Allen game, I think that this is trending towards a Buccaneers cover. So that's what I'm going to take
Okay.
here. I like the Bucks to cover on the road. Keep it close, keep it within the number. The Bucks look to be I'm not sure if are they getting back their running back. What's his name?
Bucky
Bucky
Irving.
Irving.
Yeah, he's practicing. He's actually coming back.
Yeah, so they might. So if they're getting him back, then they, expect the running game to get a little bit more back on track.
Mm.
Still don't have Evans, but Ibuka is still playing at a high level. He's still doing well, and Godwin's just slowly. I believe he's back, but he's slowly kind of returning back to form. So I expect Mayfield and them to be able to get the offense running. The Bills' defense has not been great against the run so far this year. And so I think the Bucks just lean heavily on the run, keep the game close, and cover the number if not win outright. So I'll take the Bucks and I'll take the over.
Bucks in the over. Okay. I feel you on that. I am locking in the Bills. I just don't see the Bucks being able to get it done because they lack a good running game. And I don't know if James Cook is going to be super healthy for this game, but I don't because they're going to need him because the Buccaneers have a very good run defense, right? And they do have a lot of explosive plays, but I've been looking at this, and the team that has the most apparently explosive plays, which is rushes over 10 plus yards and receptions over 20 yards, are in order, shockingly. Chicago Bears, I did not expect that. The Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the Seattle Seahawks, and the LA Rams are the top five teams in those. Uh, so yeah, I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to expect them to get their act together back at home. Tampa's coming from a warm weather area in Tampa. They blew a home game to a team they could have beat. It looks like they're getting more injured as the season goes on. And, I don't think Baker Mayfield is as good of a quarterback, so I'm going to bet on Josh to beat him by a touchdown. Mecca Egbuka, I would take him for an anytime touchdown, but I think the Bills are very solid this week. I genuinely do. I think this is a team that needs to win this game if they want to make the playoffs because right now they're not winning their division. And if they don't win this game, they actually could move down to the third wild card spot, which would be kind of bananas for the Bills, thinking about that.
Yeah, I think the Bills win the game too. I
Yeah.
just like the points here. I'll take the
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take him because it's not. If it was 7.5 or 7, I'd be a little bit more antsy. But I think they can beat them by exactly a touchdown. So that's what I'm gonna lean on, honestly. This to me, bigger game than people think. Another two teams that are likely in the playoffs right now, Chargers and the Jaguars. I believe the Jags are the home team. I'm not super sure on who's the home team.
Jags are home. Yes.
Jags are home. They are getting 3 points at home. West Coast to East Coast for the Chargers. Chargers are 1-3 on the road overall. The Jags are 3-2 at home. Both of these teams are not great against the spread. This season, they haven't really been. They've both been kind of like 5-4, 4-4. For the betting stats, the over/under is 44.5. I am going to be taking the Chargers just because I've seen better from their offense and their defense over the past couple of weeks, and I think that even though this is kind of a revenge game for Jacksonville for that playoff loss, just blowing that huge lead to the Chargers, this should be a revenge game for them blowing that huge lead 2 years ago. They got their coach fired, but they got better coaching. Their offensive line is very banged up, but the Jags pass rush has really not been taking advantage of that. And as you saw last week with Khalil Mack just chasing down Aaron Rodgers, he will be able to do the same to Trevor Lawrence, who's going to make a mistake. There's going to be a play in this game where he trips, he throws the ball off of someone's helmet, or something crazy is going to happen. He's going to turn the ball over in a wild way, and the Chargers are going to get the defensive touchdown. Even though all of their receivers appear to be like super hurt every single game, Lad McConkey always gets open, and I have more faith in Herbert than I do in even, the golden boy, as Ann loves to call him at home, Trevor Lawrence. So give me the Chargers to take this one and the over.
Yeah, I like the Chargers here too. One thing you didn't mention that was kind of a blip on the radar a little bit, but Travis Hunter is out for the season. He suffered a knee injury that initially seemed like it was initially like a couple of weeks ago when people first started mentioning it. It didn't seem like it was that serious. It was, something that they were just monitoring, or he was going to miss a couple of games here and there, whatever. But then now that it's turned to actual surgery and he's going to be out for the remainder of the year, I don't know what that means for his long-term prospects, but I know that puts a onus, it puts a damper on the situation in Jacksonville, because they obviously, drafted at number 2 overall, expected him to be a big part of what they were doing. And we saw over the course of the season, we saw Trevor Lawrence struggle with him on the field, right? And so with all of the weapons that he has at his disposal, Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't been very good. We just talked about Travis Hunter hasn't been great, and so their options, and then the running game hasn't been great. And so Trevor Lawrence is running for his life. He's doing some Trevor Lawrence things, and he's throwing picks. So, it seems like the Chargers have gotten their act straight. There was like a 3-game set where they were perfectly fine. They won their first 3 games of the season. Then they lost 2. Then they won 1, and they lost 1, and now they've won 3 straight. They beat Minnesota, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh in 3 consecutive games. So I'm expecting them to come out and handle business against the Jaguars, even on the road, even west to east, even all things considered. I'm expecting them to come out there and play well and put up a number. This started out, just to note, the line started out at 1.5 on this. I guess the market moved heavily into Jacksonville's favor, and now it's bumped up to 3. So that's just people believing that the Chargers were going to win this game pretty handily, so that number being at 1.5 was like a joke. So many people bet the Chargers that they bumped it up to 3. So maybe to try to even the number out. So I'm a little surprised that it is as low as it is. Even, I know the Chargers are on the road, but on a neutral field, I think this would be Chargers -6 at least. So I would actually bet this even. I would bet this towards the Chargers, even if it was like 4.5, like easily. So yeah, I'll take the Chargers, and I will take the over, and it's going to be my first lock of the week.
Once upon a mundane morning, Barb's day got busy without warning. A realtor in need of an open house sign. No, 50 of them, and designed before 9.
My head hurts.
Any mighty tools to help with his plight?
Aha!
Barb made her move. She opened Canva and got in the groove.
Bulk creating Canva sheets. Create 50 signs fit for suburban streets.
Done in a click, all complete.
Sweet!
Now, imagine what your dreams can become when you put imagination to work at Canva.com.
I can't hear you, Ace. You're muted, sorry.
We have my Chicago Bears on the road at the Vikings. The Bears are getting 3 points as road dogs, even after winning the past 4 games straight. The over-under is 48.5, and it appears that J.J. McCarthy is playing with an ankle injury. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was reported this week. You know what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to joke around. I'm locking in the Bears for my second lock of the week. It has been consistently working for me, betting on my team this year. Their defense has found a way to get turnovers and get stops. And Caleb Williams, that final drive against the Giants was huge. And the fact that he was able to pull that off it's been amazing. And the snow game that early in the season was really cool to see. Kyle Monangai is a great pick. And I think he went so low in the draft just because he came out of Rutgers. And he's not a burner. But he's got a little wiggle. He can get around some people. And the Bears are a pretty good run blocking team. And, we kind of owe Minnesota one. We gave that game away earlier in the year when we got up on them. So I think this is a different team. And if McCarthy can't get it done, I know they don't have a backup. And Justin Jefferson has been having a terrible season. So we will see how it goes for Chicago. They just have to make sure they don't give up too many huge plays. And Caleb is progressing. He's the offense is getting better and better, and the Bears are really becoming more of a running team than I think people realize. The one thing that gives me some pause is even though the Bears are 6-3, their overall points against and points for is still -8, even though they're 3 games above 500, which is crazy. And they're 0-2 in the division, so they have yet to win a division game. They've played Detroit. They've played Minnesota. This is their second game against Minnesota. But at Minnesota's plus minus in terms of points against for, it's only -12. All that, I'm still locking in the Bears. I don't care. I really do not care. Go ahead, Malik.
I mean, that's what fandom does, right? It does it. I was surprised that the Bears actually didn't cover the number against the Giants last week. They won by 4, and they were favored by 4.5, so they didn't cover the number last week. I'm actually surprised after what we saw with the Vikings last week against the Ravens. I'm actually surprised that they are favored in this game. And to me, that like screams disrespect of the Bears' record, right? In terms of like the Bears are 6-3, they have the best record in the division. They're tied with the Lions for the best record in the division. Obviously, they're in second place because the Lions beat them earlier in the season, but they've won some. They've won their games. They've won the games on their schedule, and they've won. They've run off. Two. They've run off 4 straight, and then now 2 straight victories as well. So, and the Vikings have been just up and down. The Vikings have been bad. They haven't had great quarterback play. The win against Detroit notwithstanding, which I attribute more to the defense, to their defense and what Flores was able to do rather than their offense. So to me, this number kind of plays out to me where they're just thinking that Flores' defense and the schemes that he's able to bring there is going to confuse Caleb Williams enough, force him into some bad decisions, and give Minnesota an opportunity to capitalize on that. The problem is on the other side, I do think that J.J. McCarthy can be susceptible to making some bad plays. I'm not going to lock this in. Obviously, I'm not a Bears or a Vikings fan. I could care less. I hope they both lose personally. But so I'm not going to lock it in. But I do think that the Bears should be able to cover the number here. I think this is a relatively close game, like all Bears, like a lot of the Bears games have been over the course of the season so far.
Yeah.
And I think these two teams are not evenly matched, but they're definitely close enough in terms of their talent levels that the game should play relatively close. So I will take the Bears because I'll just take the points here, and I will go with the over in this game.
I think it's actually going to help them that they're playing in the Dome, Chicago, and the fact that Swift is healthy. So they're going to be able to get a good mix of the running backs. I do not know how healthy Jordan Mason is. So the fact that I'm also counting on just Minnesota having a bad running game, like just genuinely. So if they're unable to run the ball and it makes them one-dimensional, it makes it easier for the Bears to win. So that's why I'm picking on that. And they, for whatever reason, they've been winning a lot of one-score games. So for whatever what's worth. And the explosive plays. So we'll see if they can get some off against the Vikings. Packers at Giants. Jameis Winston starting for the Giants. They are hosting the Packers. Packers coming off of another inexplicable loss. Well, actually, not inexplicable. They lost to the Eagles on Monday Night Football. The Giants are getting 7 points at home. The over-under is 43.5. It's Jameis Winston. They fired the coach. They talked him out of firing Daboll a couple weeks ago. He was the first head coach to get fired. I kind of had my money on Mike McDaniel, but it appears that they don't want to do that yet in Miami, and he keeps winning. So we will see. Kafka is now the interim head coach, their OC. Levon, I would love to hear from him on this, but he is not here with us. I'm going to take the Giants just because Jameis is just going to keep gunning it. Just on the strength of it alone. And I don't think Green Bay secondary is very good. So he knows that Mike is on the other side of that, and he's just going to keep getting rid of the ball. And the Giants do have a really good pass rush. So I'm going to count on their defense and their defensive line improving and being able to get enough pressure on Love to make some mistakes. And it's going to be cold this weekend in New York, so another bad weather game. and the Steelers are used to that, but will they be able to run against this team? So we will see. Go ahead, Malik.
Yeah, the big thing I'm most hyped for. I want Jameis Winston to come out onto the field to Eminem's "Lose Yourself." Like that's what I want him to do. I want him to come running out of the field. I want to hear the music playing. I want to hear his arms are ready, knees weak, palms are heavy. Vomit on his sweater already. Mom, spaghetti. I want to see that because I want to see Jameis Winston come running out in that with that mentality. Look, this is likely going to be a very fun game to watch because I expect Jameis Winston to go balls to the wall. I expect him to throw as much as he possibly can. As much as he possibly can, because the Giants don't have a running game to speak of. Scadaboo's, not there. I do think Tyrone Tracy is not a bad runner. I do think Devin Singletary is not a bad runner, but they don't really, strike any fear in a defense. I think this Green Bay defense, while their offense has been, a bit problematic over the course of the last couple of weeks, their defense has been really good. And they've still been pretty good. And so I expect that they'll be able to pressure Jameis, make him make some mistakes. He'll probably throw 3 touchdowns, throw 4 interceptions. That's likely to happen. And the Packers are able to win this game. I do think that the number is very, very weird here just because the 7 tells you that like the Giants have not been a great scoring team so far. And that's probably why I'm leaning Packers. But the Packers have scored 13 and 7. They've scored 20 points in the last 2 games combined. That's not an average.
And right? One of those was against the Carolina Panthers.
Right. So 13 and 7 points in 13 points and 7 points in 2 separate games. So that tells me that, yeah, it's very, very likely that they could come out with, against that Giants defense, against that Giants pass rush, they could come out and have another bad Jordan Love performance or another bad, offensive output, still win the game, but not win it by more than, 7 points. So I'm not going to lock it in, but I definitely feel like the Packers should be able to bounce back, get back on the winning track. But I think Jameis makes it very, very interesting, especially towards the end of the game. So I'll take the Packers. I'll take the under. But I'm not locking it in. I don't really like this.
My one bet on this game is I would definitely bet on Jameis having over 250 passing yards. He's going to be throwing, and he's going to be throwing it a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He knows that probably the best route to winning is for him to throw the football. So
yeah, and like he said, that quote he gave, they fired the coach and they handed me the keys. I'm gonna drive this team like I stole it. So
love that quote.
He is ready. Bengals at Steelers. Steelers, after losing last week, are now on track to be 9-8. The 9-8 Steelers sneak in the 7th seed. Let's see if Aaron Rodgers can get them back into the playoffs. They're hosting the Bengals. The Bengals are getting 5.5 on the road. The over-under is 49.5, which seems kind of high. They are good for scoring some points, but they are not good for holding on to a lead. Cincinnati is 3-6. If they have any intention of getting Joe Burrow back in December, these are the games they're going to need to win to get through. And this may be the last of Joe Flacco's career where they actually give him a chance to win some games. The Steelers are leading their division at 5-4, barely. They also have negative net points at this time, which means the defense is not as good as we think. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is going to give them some problems, and Chase Brown can actually run the ball. So I am locking in the Cincinnati Bengals to cover this spread. This is my third lock of the week. They get a lot of explosive plays. The Packers do not. And one of their tight ends, Pat Freiermuth, is questionable. It is likely that he will play, but he's playing through an injury. Higgins and Jamar Chase are healthy, so all Joe Flacco's got to do is get the ball out of his hands. So we will see. And, just stop T.J. Watt. Pretty much nobody else might get to you. Go ahead, Malik.
Joe Burrow is practicing. So, he's practicing. I don't think he's ready to come back. And Flacco's been dealing with a bad shoulder for the last couple of weeks. So he was limited in practice today. So if they don't have if they're down their best quarterback. Their second best quarterback is definitely is hobbled a little bit. If this becomes a Jake Browning game, I think the Steelers win this easily. And one thing I will say in favor of the Steelers is it did look like at the very least in that game against the Chargers, their defense did make some plays and put them in position where if that offense had just shown a little bit of life, they probably could have made that a game. And so I think defensively, maybe adding all the new pieces, they are, like, I think we've talked about this, one of the older defenses in the league. They're the most expensive defense in the league. And maybe it just took some time for them to kind of round it into shape. So I think that they're now starting to play, at least on that side of the ball, the type of defense that Mike Tomlin always anticipated or expected them to do, which means I'm going to pick the Steelers to cover this, to win this game, cover this number against the Bengals, and keep things, keep themselves at least above water against, with Baltimore coming back so furiously. So I will take the Steelers and the under.
The only way the Steelers win this game if it is an under. If this game goes over that 48, Bengals are.
That means the Bengals have started scoring.
Yes, and the Bengals are covering if they do that, or possibly winning. If the Bengals win this game, then that means that Baltimore will be in first place at 5-5 in the division.
Yeah, with a win.
Because I fully expect them. Well, wait, they're not even playing this week, correct? They're on a bye week.
Baltimore? No, Baltimore's playing.
Oh no, I take that back. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's actually an all AFC North weekend.
That's right.
Baltimore's playing Cleveland.
They're playing the Ravens. This will be the worst game of the week. This is the Texans at the Titans. Texans at the Titans. The Titans are 6.5-point home dogs. Titans are coming off of their bye week, I believe, because this is week 11 and they're 1-8.
Yep.
The Texans are 4-5 and have a shot to make the playoffs. They are unlikely to catch. They're not going to catch Indianapolis at 8-2, so they will not be winning that division. As we talked about our division winner picks last week, I was wrong. I had no idea Daniel Jones had this in his game, but yeah, there's no reason why Houston won't win this game. I'm going to take the easy dub for my locks of the week, and I'm going to lock in Houston for this one. If this spread doesn't get to 7.5 by Saturday, bet it now, bet it early. As soon as you hear this, get that bet in on Houston, because if you get this before it goes up to 7.5, you might miss it. So I expect the line to keep moving in that direction genuinely.
Yeah, I'll take the Texans as well. I don't want to lock this. I mean, I've only locked in one game so far. But I don't want to lock this because of the Davis Mills effect. But we went back and watched that game last week when they played against Jacksonville. And he actually played a pretty good game. Jacksonville made a comeback and squandered it late with the pick six that they wouldn't have covered without that pick six that Trevor Lawrence threw. Because they were only up a point or something like that. So they wouldn't have covered the number, but they wound up covering the number because of that. But that said, they definitely were able to put up some points. Davis Mills was able to move the ball down the field, and the offensive line looked a little bit better in terms of protecting him. He actually even got out and ran a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken. So I definitely think that he's more than adequate to hold down a Titans team that just has pretty much mailed it in at this point, and they're playing for draft position more than anything else to kind of add the talent around Cam Ward. I do want to see if Cam Ward is able to, make some plays, but I think this Houston defense is legit enough that they should be able to hold down that 6.5 pretty easily. So I'll take the Texans in the under, and I'm locking it as well.
My issue with that is I don't know if Calvin Ridley is healthy enough to play, even coming off of the bye week for them. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So we will see. But I think we spent enough time talking about that. 49ers, Cardinals. 49ers at the Cardinals, first 4 o'clock game. The 49ers are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 48.5. I want to lock in the 49ers. I do not see how they blow this game. Brock Purdy is healthy. He is coming back. The team is all moving in the right direction. They're going to have Purdy. They're going to have McCaffrey. They're going to have Brian Robinson Jr. And they're going to have George Kittle. And DeJuan Jennings has been balling. He's been playing really, really well. Purdy's accuracy is going to be helpful. He's going to be able to run. He's going to be able to move. That turf toe injury kept him out 6 weeks straight, being he was only supposed to be out a week. So I guess they wanted him fully healthy before he came back, and they wanted to get by on Mac Jones, and it's been pretty successful. San Francisco is 5-4. They need this game if they want to make a push for the playoffs. 6-4, I should say. They are 1 game behind Chicago and 1 game behind Green Bay because of that tie. So they need to pick up this win, and, you know, with them starting Jacoby Brissett, I don't see this going well for him. So give me the 49ers. I feel very confident in this one.
Yeah, I like the 49ers here as well. I think Brissett's had his time to shine to some degree already. He's had a couple of really good games with a couple of really good performances. So I think he's made his bed. He's doing pretty good, but now it's time for him to go back to looking like the backup quarterback that he is. This is not a Geno Smith situation where he's got some new level of fountain of youth situation going on here, or this is not Sam Darnold. This is not Baker Mayfield. This is Jacoby Brissett is a backup quarterback, and he plays like a backup quarterback. And every once in a while, he looks the part of a starter until he goes up against a defense like this. I think this defense in San Francisco is definitely a solid one. You know, notwithstanding taking away the performance they had against the Rams last week, where that game was closer it was close in the second half. The Rams made a couple of plays and extended it out, but it was a relatively close game in the second half, and the Rams offense is really, really good. This Cardinals offense is not that Rams offense. Not even close. So I think that the Niners with guys coming back, with a few more guys that returning from injury, and especially Brock Purdy being there, being able to play. I think regardless of Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, I think this team should be favored to win, should win this game outright, and should be able to cover this number. So I'll take the 49ers and the over.
All right. Next up, we have the Rams hosting the Seahawks. The Rams are favored by 3 points. The over-under is another super high one at 48.5. Malik, I'm going to go to you first on this one to talk about your former QB.
My former QB, the leading candidate. I think he's a leading candidate for MVP. I know Drake May just won again, and he was second, so maybe he will be at the end of this game or whatever. But going into this week, Matthew Stafford was the odds-on favorite for MVP. I wish I would bet him early in the season, but anyway, the Rams are playing some really good ball. They are playing some really good ball right now. Their defense is still, playing well. Their defense is young. It's fast. I will be watching this game intently because I really like what I see from the Rams, and I really like what I see from the Seahawks. I think both of these teams are very evenly matched. You can see that obviously they have the same record. And this is going to be a game that's going to be back and forth. And so the fact that this is a 3-point spread just tells you that these teams are relatively even. And if this game was in Seattle, it would be Seattle -3. And that's it. So I like the Rams here to cover their number. I think these teams split the games in their respective stadiums. And I think that the Seattle Seahawks are just as good. They're just as good as the Rams, honestly speaking here. But I think they lose this game and win week 16 back in Seattle on Sunday Night Football when they play in that game. So I'll take the Rams. No lock here, but I'll take the Rams to cover the number. So give me the Rams and the over.
How many games have I locked in so far? Is it 3 or 4? 4? Mm-hmm. All right. I am going to wait, but I like the Rams a lot in this one. This is going to let us know who's going to win that division. Whoever wins this game will have the lead in that division for the rest of the year. If the Rams do this, it's possible the Rams could get the 1 seed in the NFC. I believe they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFC. I would say the Rams, I would say the Lions, and I would say the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the top 3 teams, and to me, those are the 3 teams that legitimately have a chance of going to the Super Bowl. Seattle may feel like it with Sam Darnold, but there's no way I'm going to trust Sam Darnold over a guy who's won the Super Bowl, and he is playing lights out. It's the first time the quarterback has had 4 touchdowns in 3 straight games and has not thrown a pick. He's got 24 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in those 4 games. There's no reason to not bet on the Rams. And to just bet on, Stafford to throw 2 TDs and 250 yards, even against this defense. They're at home. They should be able to do it easy, no problem. Moving on, and Kyron Williams, anytime touchdown. That's been golden all year, genuinely. Yeah. Ravens at the Browns. AFC North matchup. The Browns are 7.5-point home dogs. 39.5-point over-under. I am going to take the Ravens, my second favorite team. It's not really that big of a number. 8.5 or 9 would probably get me to not bet this game at all. But at 7.5, I think that the Ravens can beat the brakes off of them. This is a 4:25 game, which leads me to believe this is going to be the game of the week, which is kind of insane on Fox. I know that's incorrect. No, that's going to be Kansas City, Denver for sure. But I have seen the line move to -8.5 for Baltimore. I'd still take them. Against the spread, Baltimore's 4-5, Cleveland is 3-6. This is the only team that could lose a game with one player getting 5 sacks. I see why they pay him so much. I see why they want Myles Garrett there. I don't know what it's going to take to get Shador on the field, but I don't think they have a hope with Dylan Gabriel playing quarterback. So they keep saying he looks like a varsity high school player out there playing with pros. It's crazy how little he is. And he doesn't have the arm strength to get the ball down the field where they need it to be. The only thing hurting Baltimore, or actually I wouldn't even say Baltimore, that hurt Philadelphia now that I think about it. Baltimore moved Jair Alexander and he decided to take a break from football, but that's not going to affect their secondary. Kyle Hamilton will be healthy. And Harold Fannin Jr., the exciting rookie tight end from Cleveland, is likely to play, but he's playing through an injury. So that's all the news you need to know. I'm going to lean towards the over if Baltimore wins. I think that's an even safer bet.
Yeah, I'm locking in the Ravens here. I feel pretty confident based on the way that I've seen both of these teams trend over the last 3 weeks. Baltimore's won 3 straight, and Cleveland has lost 2 of their last 3. Their only win was that surprising victory against Miami a few weeks back, where they blew Miami out. But other than that, they've looked about as bad as you could potentially look. So yeah, Myles Garrett notwithstanding, everything else on this team is pretty much pedestrian, nowhere near what you would expect in terms of beating a Ravens team that seems to have caught their stride, seems to have, identified, the things that they needed to do. They got back healthy. They got Lamar back. They got a couple of other guys back. And so now they've won 3 straight. Granted, against 3, one at home against Chicago, and then they went to Miami and to Minnesota and won those games. So you can't look the gift horse in the mouth, but they're in the midst of their playoff run right now. So I would not be surprised if they come out and win this game by 13, 15 points pretty easily. So I'm locking this in, Ravens and the over.
I think that's a very good bet. I could not agree with you more, legitimately. Game of the week on Fox, Chiefs at Broncos. The Broncos are 5-0 at home. The Broncos are 8-2 against the spread in the last 10 games. 4-5-1 against the spread. And the Chiefs are 5-4 against the spread. The Chiefs need this game. They are currently not in the playoffs. If the Chiefs lose this game, it will genuinely be difficult for them to qualify for the playoffs after being in the Super Bowl back-to-back. On that note, I am locking in the Kansas City Chiefs to beat Denver, who keeps getting lucky. They shouldn't have won that game against the Giants. They shouldn't have won that game last week. For whatever reason, they keep figuring out a way to win. Their offense is terrible. Bo Nix is not that good. And I think Kansas City is good enough to stop them. And everybody keeps saying they have an issue with the running game. They probably should have invested in the running back. Clyde Hill-Edwards retired. I thought he might come back this season, but I guess winning 2 Super Bowls and a national championship was enough for him. He was dealing with a lot. They got guys who want to be there. Kareem Hunt's pretty good. He's 30. He's a little old, not as quick as he used to be, but it's good enough. Whether they win this game by a lot or a little, I think they can win this game by a touchdown. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a huge game. They've played in Denver a bunch, and this is not a team that's given them problems the past couple of years. So I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to lock this one in for my 4th lock of the week, or 5th?
5th.
My 5th lock of the week. Give me the Chiefs to get back into the playoffs after Jacksonville loses. They'll be the 7th seed, which would be interesting.
I'm going to go the other way here. I'm going to go the other way because I want the home team with the points. And I want the best defense in the NFL with points at their disposal to make a couple of plays. I don't know that I think that Denver wins this game, although they have won 7 straight at this point. So it's not to say that this is a bad game or a bad team at all. Winning 7 straight, you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth as it comes to that. And Bo Nix, as bad as he's been in stretches this season, he's been really good in fourth quarters, and he's been really good when that game is close. He's been really good at, kind of doing what's necessary to get the team in position to score the points that needed to be scored in order to win. And I think that this game, because of the defense that the Broncos can bring, because of the pressure that they can bring up front without having a blitz, and because of their ability on the outside to cover, I think that this game plays really, really close. I think the best bet here for me is the under at 44 and a half. I think this game, it's a divisional matchup on the road in Denver. The Chiefs don't have a great running attack. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8s, where Denver's going to be able to get home and try to get home and rush the passer and try to make Patrick Mahomes, he's not going to throw a lot of picks or anything like that, but try to make him uncomfortable back there and make him, see things that he's not accustomed to seeing. So I like the Broncos to be able to cover this number. I don't necessarily know that I picked them to win because, to your point, Bo Nix could, have another poor game. But I think that they're good enough on the defensive side of the ball to keep it close. So at 3 points, at 2.5, I'd probably pick the Chiefs. But at 4 points, just giving me right over that field goal number, I'll take it because I could absolutely see a 27-24 or a 17, 14 victory here for the Chiefs, and that'd be that. So yeah, I'll take the Broncos, and I'll take the points.
I think the Chiefs also, I give them a lot of chances because the Chiefs are coming off of a bye. So they're going to be rested for this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Ant just joined us.
Welcome, man. We're almost done, but welcome. You can get the Sunday night game and the Monday night game with us. How you? I guess we'll start out. How you feeling? The Jets unfortunately didn't win the game, didn't cover the number. They lost by 13. Are you feeling good about what you saw, or what's your initial thoughts?
I'm done with the Justin Fields experience. I'm done. I'm done. I'm tired. I want a real quarterback, man. I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah. And to think, I think the thing here, and the thing that's crazy is that you guys gave him a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
At $20 million a year. So even if he's not, he's probably going to be your starter next year because you're paying him to be your starter next year.
Oh, good.
The worst thing is that we let Aaron Rodgers walk.
You're paying him $10 million more than Aaron Rodgers is making in Pittsburgh, and Aaron Rodgers has a winning record there.
How much was Aaron Rodgers under contract, or was the contract up? So that's why they wanted to clear that cap space.
No, he's still on contract. I just don't remember the exact amount.
Wasn't it like 40-something million though?
I don't remember the amount what he had left, but
that he was making on the Jets. I think it was like in the 40s, but he signed in Pittsburgh for 10.
They still had Devontae Adams, right?
Yep, we would have had Devontae Adams if we'd kept him. So we basically let two players go.
You hope the Rams get to the Super Bowl is what you did.
Man, we helped. Man, how many teams we helped to get to the Super Bowl already? Shit, I don't give a fuck. We helped so many damn teams get to the Super Bowl already. You can look at it. You can look at it across the league and see how many players that's former Jets on there. Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, quite, Aaron Rodgers, fucking what's the name? Devontae Adams. You just said it. What's the name? JFM on the one team over there. On Denver.
All right.
There's so many damn teams. They flooded with former Jet players.
Well, I think this
KC in the over.
KC in the over. All right. Malik, we got Lions at the Eagles for Sunday Night Football. Another big game for the Eagles and the Lions. Primetime game. The Lions are 2.5-point underdogs in Philadelphia. Cold weather game. Over-under is 46.5. Who you taking, Malik?
Can I say, before I make my pick, that I've been waiting for this game for 2 years?
This game decides who's the best team in the NFC, in my opinion. Biggest game of the week.
So here's the thing. So when the Lions last year, Lions were 15-2, and we were on a collision course with Philly. We were absolutely on a collision course with Philly, and I believed in my heart of hearts, I believed that if we would have been healthy enough and Philly had to come into Detroit for the NFC Championship game, I firmly believe that we could have beaten them. Even with Saquon doing what Saquon does. That said, obviously it didn't happen. The Lions, got beat by Washington, and Washington went and got smoked by Philly, and then Philly went on to win the championship. I've been waiting for this game for a really, really long time. And so I say all that to say I firmly believe that the Lions believe that this is an opportunity for them to do what they've set out to do from the beginning, which is stake their claim as the best team in the division and best team in the conference. And going to Philly, playing in that environment, definitely, this is something that they play for Sunday Night Football, and they're going to want to redeem themselves from the last time they played Sunday Night Football, which was in Kansas City. So I am going with the Lions here, locking this in as my fourth lock of the week. I believe the Lions are. I don't know that we're the hands down better team than them. I think that they are a really talented team over there in Philadelphia, and could absolutely see us losing that game if Philadelphia plays up to par with the talent that they have. But I think that the Lions are clicking on a lot of different fronts. Philly struggling just enough. I did watch that game, intently when they played the Packers last week, and their offense does look a little bit pedestrian, does look a little bit formulaic and all of those things. I just hope, and pray that we get some of those calls that Philadelphia continually seems to, get overlooked when they run their tush push, because I can only imagine being a fan of those teams and watching these guys jump off sides so egregiously, and it does not get called. The Lions were one of the few teams that actually voted to keep the tush push in place when the vote came up last year. So the fact that they voted it in, and Dan Campbell doubled down on that during interviews this week, saying that basically it's a football play, and I'm not one to want to legislate plays out of the game. If we get beat on stuff like that over the course of this week, it's gonna piss me off so bad. But yeah, this is a highly anticipated game. I can't wait to see it. I definitely will be sitting there prepared for a Lions victory, and I'm hoping I see one. So I'm gonna pick the Lions. I'm gonna pick the over, and I'm locking this in as my fourth lock of the week.
And who you got?
Yeah, I got Lions in the over. I believe I said. I don't remember if I put them as my lock though, but I got Lions in the over.
I am going to be taking the Eagles because they are at home. We'll see if A.J. Brown actually gets a couple of passes thrown his way. Terrion Arnold is going to have his hands full. But, the Eagles secondary is going to be an issue because they traded for Jair Alexander, and my man retired on him. He was like, no, I'm not going to Philly. I'm not going up 95. I don't give a shit. I'm not moving. I'm not leaving. I don't know what's going on with him, but I wish him the best, genuinely. But, that should help the Detroit. Now it's really gonna see how Detroit can run the ball on them, because Philadelphia's defensive tackles are healthy, and I think not really the pass rush, but really the run game, and the Eagles being able to slow down Detroit's running game is where Philly has the advantage. If AJ Brown can do anything, we'll see. Jalen Hurts isn't the best quarterback, but he'll be able to run on them, and we'll see what they can do. I do think if Detroit can stop that tush push, that would be amazing, especially because they voted to keep it. So that would be dope. But I'm just taking the Eagles because they're at home. I will not be betting this game because I do not know who will win. But I will tell you this. I will take an anytime touchdown on both of these running backs, and that will cash. So if you want to parlay that with these two, and I think I shouted out, who did I shout out earlier? Travis Kelce and Christian McCaffrey. You could do a 4-team anytime TD parlay and run it up and see how that goes. And the last and definitely least interesting Monday night game, if you have YouTube TV, good luck watching it. You have the Dallas Cowboys at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are 3.5 home dogs. Ant, who do you got?
I'm going to take Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to take the over in this one. There's no way that Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders is going to do anything. Actually, I should say Dallas and the under on this one. And if I had a lock, I would have locked that in.
You don't think Dallas will score 45 points on its own and just give up a touchdown to Vegas at the end?
I mean, it could happen, but I just feel that they might just decide to take a break on them and just quite end the game, and we'd be all basically asleep by the time this game is over. We'd be already asleep, so they might not even score any more points.
Yeah,
I might be wrong though, because I was wrong all last week. I was horrible, so you never know. I gotta get back on track on that.
I tend to agree with you. I think Ashton Jeanty may do something, but Dallas did trade
for my fantasy.
Dallas did trade for Quentin Williams. So he should improve the run defense a lot.
And he had 2 weeks off too.
Yeah, so he's had 2 weeks off in a row to heal up and get used to the playbook and figure out what he's got to do. Dallas should be better on the defensive line. Him and Kenny Clark in the middle should make a huge difference. Geno started out good in the first game, and it's been all downhill since then. They are 1-3 at home. They are 3-5-1 against the spread. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm locking in the Cowboys for my fifth and final lock of the week. Look, if what I'm predicting actually plays out, this is exactly what Jerry Jones has always wanted probably all season. The Cowboys are 3-5-1. Philly is 7-2. If Philly loses the game against the Lions, as I mentioned earlier, they'll be 7-3, and their next game is in Dallas against the Cowboys. That will be a huge game for both of these teams, and Dallas will be looking to the look ahead on that game is 3.5 to Philly, but Dallas will be looking to take advantage of some Philadelphia, take advantage of beat Philadelphia and put themselves in prime position to challenge for that division. Right now, they don't look like they should do much. But after this game, they have Philly, they have KC, they go to Detroit, and then they have Minnesota. So they need this victory in order to kind of keep things afloat and keep things interesting for them. Otherwise, if they lose this game to the Raiders, even in Vegas to the Raiders, the next 3 weeks are going to be super tough for them, and it'll probably just bounce them out of the playoff chase anyway. It still might happen. They may lose both of those games home against KC and at Detroit and still mess themselves up. But at least I think these next 2 weeks will make it very, very interesting. They'll beat Philly, they'll beat Vegas, and then everybody will be talking about Dallas, Philly next week on Thanksgiving. No, not on Thanksgiving. The weekend before Thanksgiving. So I will take Dallas and the over, and I'm locking this as my fifth and final lock of the week.
Dallas is so far down in the standings. They are currently behind the Minnesota Vikings and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, their only path to get the playoffs is this division.
No, they'd have to win out, and they need Chicago and Green Bay to start losing, which is unlikely that both of those teams are going to start losing.
That too, yeah.
Chicago may finish the season really terrible. We might finish or if we just go 500, we win 10 games. For Dallas to win 10 games, they need to win 6 of their next 8 games. 6 of the next 9 games. Or, I'm sorry, 7 of the next 9 games. So this one they got to have. I don't see that happening. Oh, no, wait. They have that tie. I keep forgetting about that.
They have the tie. That's what I'm saying. They have the tie, and the tie actually gives them a little bit of leverage there. If they can get to but it's again their schedule coming up is.
Do they get to play San Francisco?
No.
Do they get to play Carolina?
No.
So
their next. So after Vegas, I'll give you their final games from 13 to 18. 12 to 18. They have Philly at home,
loss.
Kansas City at home,
loss.
At Detroit,
loss.
Home against Minnesota,
win.
Home against the Chargers,
win.
At
loss.
Washington, at New York.
Win.
So that's what I'm saying. This is their season. They have to win this game this weekend.
They're going to finish
in order for them to
finish
have
8 and 9.
any chance of making things interesting for themselves going into Week 12 against the Eagles.
That Chargers game is going to be huge. Huge.
Yeah. So we'll see.
All right.
That's what she said.
Yeah. And you want to give out your locks of the week and why you picked them?
I don't remember my locks, so I'm good.
Okay.
I was going to name them. Yeah, I'll name them out. I'll name out the locks before we roll to shout outs. So Ace is locking in the Bills, the Bears, the Bengals, the Texans, and the Chiefs. Ant is locking in the Bills, the Bears, the Packers, the Seahawks, and the Chiefs. And I'm locking in the Chargers, the Texans, the Ravens, the Lions, and the Cowboys.
Absolute cinema.
Thank you for that.
Ready to roll into our
yeah. Let's
shout-outs?
go to our shout-outs. Ant, who do you got for your shout-outs?
Shit, I was still trying to remember my shout-outs. But anyway, I'm so pissed off at this game. Anyway, shout out to Jesse Jackson. Hopefully he's doing better. I heard he got hospitalized today. Hoping that he does quite things turn around. I don't know. He's 84 years old, so I don't know what's gonna happen there. But yeah, knock on wood on that one. Like I said, hopefully he turns things around. Of course, rest in peace to Michael Ray Richardson. Of course, I heard he died this week as well. I'm trying to remember my other shout outs I had. Oh yeah, shout out. Yeah, definitely a Licks legend. Oh, shout outs to Christoph Porzingis. He said he was gonna come on today as well. But unfortunately, he could not make it. And yeah, fuck you, Woody Johnson. You know, you can still suck on rocks. But yeah, that's my shout outs this week.
All right. I am going to go and give a shout out to the University of Indiana Hoosiers, who are the new powerhouse in the Big Ten, who everybody thought was going to be a doormat, and last year was a mistake. They are 10-0 with 2 more games to go, have pretty much locked in their way to the Big Ten title game. They're on a collision course with Ohio State. Beat Illinois 63-10, beat Iowa at Iowa, beat Oregon at Oregon, beat UCLA, and beat Penn State with a miraculous game last week. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Fernando Mendoza might be the first guy to win the Heisman who has transferred schools again. Shout out to Cam Ward. He is playing amazing. They are going to beat the brakes off of Wisconsin. This is a home game. The spread in that game is 29.5 points. Wisconsin is plus, I just want to get this right. Wisconsin is plus 2,000 on the money line. 2,000. They are 3-6. This game is expected to be such a blowout. It's on Big Ten Network. So unless you have cable and the sports package, you will not be watching this. But that has been one of my favorite teams to watch all year. And shout out to the Texas Longhorns, who keep somehow scraping along, scratching along, just cheating teams out of wins. They're going to be playing UGA this week at Georgia. So we're going to see how good they really are. And shout out to my UB Bulls. They lost, but they are still 5-5, and they can still make it to a bowl game. They are unlikely to make it to the MAC championship game, but if they win the last 2, I think they can still play their way in. So we will see. I just want them to get to 7-8 wins this year, and it looks like it will be possible. That'd probably be their 2 best straight years since the pandemic when they were ranked. So we will see how that goes. BYU, you guys are frauds. Pittsburgh, I hope you're. Shout out to Pat Narduzzi, who said, "I don't care if my team loses 110-3 against Notre Dame. I want to win the ACC. Who cares about Notre Dame?" That was hilarious. That is the most insane thing I've heard a coach say in college football. And shout out to Brian Kelly for suing LSU, talking about, "I don't want some, I don't want half, I want all my cash,
All my bread. Give me all my bread, damn it."
Yeah. They fired him and they were like, hold on. We didn't say we didn't fire you for cause. Coming back talking about, hold on now. We're not giving you all this money. That is the most LSU Louisiana thing I've ever heard in my life. The governor's like, hold on, we ain't giving him all of his bread for losing. Meanwhile, they won 9 games last year, and they won 9 games the year before. People are salty, man. It is kind of funny to me. College football season is unfolding. And Levon may be right about the Milwaukee Bucks. They are currently the 7th seed in the East, but we are 10 games in, which is the equivalent of week 2 of the NFL season. So when we hit about 25 games, I will revisit that. But yeah, it's been a good NBA start to the NBA season. And yeah, they fired Nico, and I think it was good that he got out of there. And I can't believe that he created that franchise by trading that team. They have fans that kind of hate the team. It's kind of like the New Orleans Pelicans, which them moving from Charlotte has destroyed 2 franchises. Destroyed the Charlotte Hornets and destroyed the New Orleans Pelicans franchise, because you can get courtside seats for like $80. So shout out to New Orleans. I hope y'all go to the game and enjoy Derek Queen, because he is y'all superstar now. Hopefully Zion can get back healthy. Malik, what you got?
Yeah, a couple of quick shout outs. Shout out to Aaron Judge. If you guys didn't see it, he was voted the AL MVP again for the 2nd straight year, 3rd time in his career. It was touch and go this year. I mean, last year I think he won pretty much in a landslide, but this year Cal Raleigh, the catcher from the Seattle Mariners, was definitely on his heels.
I can't believe
in terms
he beat him
of
out.
Yeah, in terms of statistics. I mean, he had 63 home runs I think this year, 63 home runs this year, beat him out. So he set the record there. And but Judge had so many he led in so many statistical categories over the course of the season, despite missing time in the middle of the year with an injured elbow, if I'm not mistaken, that actually hindered him all the way through the playoffs, where he really wasn't able to throw as strongly as he has. His arm in the outfield wasn't as great. But he still won the MVP. So shout out to him in another pretty much lost season for the Yankees, where they made the playoffs but didn't really factor into the decision there. It's good to see that he's still having an amazing career, and is likely, with another, couple of years like this, is likely going to go down as not only one of the greatest Yankees in the history of the franchise, and this is a very storied franchise, but one of the greatest players in the history of Major League Baseball. What he's doing right now statistically is absolutely unheard of, with the power numbers to go along with the average. It's pretty crazy. Shout out to young Miss Hannah Hidalgo. She is the I don't know if it's point guard or she's a guard from Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame, women's basketball team. 5'6" out of Merchantville, New Jersey. I had to look that up to see where actually Merchantville, New Jersey is. But she's from the southern part of New Jersey. But if you guys didn't see this, Hannah, she dropped 44 points. Notre Dame played Michigan. I believe it was Michigan last night. No, who they played last night? They played Akron. That's who they played. And her stat line: 44 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 16 steals. She set the record. An individual set the record for steals in either men or women's basketball D1 level in the history of the NCAA. 16 steals in this game. She was all over the place. I didn't watch the game live and didn't know anything about this game, but I did watch some highlights of the game, and I was thoroughly impressed by the way that she played. Look, I've been on record saying I love women's basketball. college and pro. I like to watch these women play, and when I see one that's really, really good, I want to give them their props, give them their credit. She's a junior from Notre Dame. I'll be watching her the rest of the way. She's actually averaging 30 plus per game at this point, 3 games into the season. So she's a scorer. She's definitely a solid player. And 16 steals, my God, I didn't think that number was even possible for an individual to get in a basketball game. So shout out to her because that was huge. I did have one more. Shout out to Ant, and sorry, Ant, but this just happened. So shout out to Travion Henderson for upping my fantasy team because it was the beginning of the season. Look, beginning of the season, he was drafted by folks. Somebody dropped him in the beginning of the season. I picked him up when I heard like he might be jumping into the starting position, and he has been incredible. I lost last week because I didn't start him, and I played Anthony last week, so I started him this week, and now he's kicked me off on a good start. 3 touchdowns in the game today against the Jets, and it looks like they have another dynamic runner, dynamic player in the backfield. For
it's more bullshit I got to deal with every year.
for the guys over there in New England. And then last but not least, shout out to Steph Curry. Steph Curry is leaving Under Armour after I don't know how many years with his shoe deal over there.
16 years.
16 years with Under Armour. Shout out to him because maybe at age 36, he's actually stepping out. He's going to do his own thing. Like he's not like joining Nike or anything like that.
Right. He kind of built Under Armour. Those sneakers are comfortable.
Yeah, he helped build the brand to where it was the most popular selling, player for years on that brand. But I never thought the shoes were all that nice looking. No. Especially I remember there was that one shoe, I can't remember which one it was, that one shoe that basically was like the hospital shoe.
The 2.0. Yeah.
It became like the hospital shoe, especially the white version. So shout out to you for, stepping out on your own and doing what he did to help build that brand and now going on to your own thing. I'll be interested to see what he comes up with on his side, following the Kyrie route of creating his own line and figuring it out from there. So shout out to him. I'll be checking for him. Because if nothing else, the kids will be rocking those shoes because they still love Steph. They still love Chef. So, we'll see what happens. So shout out to him for that. That's about it.
And one last one for me. If you watch Last Chance U, the final season with Laney College in Oakland, California, shout out to John Beam. I hope he recovers. He was shot in a shooting on campus in Oakland, California today. So prayers up for him, and I hope he gets better and survives this. He stepped down as coach in 2024, being there in 2012, and he was able to see, before that, he was a high school football coach with 130 wins and 22 losses, and he had sent 20 players to the NFL. So prayers up for John Bean. Seemed like a really good dude. Out of all of the coaches that we saw in Last Chance U, outside of the first 2 that were just screaming on people, worrying about wins and whether or not they were going to be moving on, especially that last coach in Kansas who was just completely insane.
Oh, I forgot to say one more thing. Rest in peace, Lenny Wilkens, too.
Yes.
Right.
R.I.P. Lenny Wilkens. A real one, a legend, Brooklyn legend. And on that note, we are out. Please follow us, like and subscribe. Catch us on all podcast platforms. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and what is it? Even, actually, we're not on Blue Sky yet, but we might be. I'm going to decide if I'm going to start putting an effort to that and manage the socials. Let us know, like, subscribe in the comments, and let us know what you like and what you don't like about the show. And we appreciate y'all for listening and sticking with us for this past 5 years.
Reverse shout out before we reverse negative ass shout out to ESPN and Google for this stupid ass issue that y'all are having, forcing everybody to have 2 different apps and streaming shit. You realize that the NBA games play on Prime, okay, and ESPN, and freaking NFL games are on Sunday Ticket, which is on YouTube. So on a Sunday afternoon when you want to just watch, the problem, you got to flip between apps. And that's the absolute worst. It's not like channel surfing anymore. You actually have to, have you ever, these TVs, they're not built for this shit. Okay? They're not built for this shit. Please do something. We need to do something. I don't care if you guys hate each other and want people to pay out of the nose. I just need my sports. And when you guys do this shit, at least equip the freaking TVs to be able to jump between apps without having to press home, go to the app, find the app, launch the app, get it. Please. One of the TVs, I think Fire TV just like put out an update that will allow you to jump between apps a little bit more. I'm going to test that out. I saw the message pop up on my thing yesterday. I'm going to test that out. But use SOBs out here arguing about shit. Like, I don't care. Charge me whatever the hell you want to charge me, but allow me to watch all of my shit at the same time without having to jump through hoops with these apps. I'm pissed off. I'm mad about this shit. Get it together, guys. Get it together.
Do you have Peacock?
I do have Peacock.
So so basically you can watch NBA games 7 days a week, all the NFL games, and what else? What else? SEC Network you subscribe to too at this point?
Yes, I'm subscribed to ESPN, so I have the SEC Network. I have all of this shit. Okay. But now I don't care who's arguing. I'm paying for all of it anyway. But
you know what's the funny part is about these whole things?
Jump.
These streaming companies, they think that in these executive minds, they think that you just get their streaming service and that's it. They don't give a shit about nobody else.
Correct. They're bleeding me dry, and I don't care. It's either it would be either this or strippers. So it's one of the two, right? So I'm giving my money to something that I enjoy.
Those are the choices. All right, folks, you heard it here first. It's either strippers or cable, and Malik chose cable.
Add up the prices, it might be like cable times 3.
I don't look at it.
Cable was cheaper. Verizon Fios was cheaper. Comcast. Cablevision was better than this. I'm going to keep it $1. Cablevision was like $99 a month last time I had it in the Bronx. Yeah, it was pretty good. I got the Knicks games. I didn't have to pay out the nose. It wasn't $40 a month to get MSG Go on an app that don't work right.
I look at my bank account with one eye open. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hoping that it's not in negative, right? That's what I'm
hoping that it's not in the red. That's it.
On that note, we'll have more old man rants for you next week and some more quality picks. I'm 60% of the season. Keep following us.
Peace out.
We out.
Peace.